large flow of people.
Okay.
Travel industry, hospitality industry, education, medical, shipping and transportation. It's becoming much more common now for flight attendants and cab drivers to get training to understand the signs, see the signs and realize, hey, this is what's going on. And then once you see those signs, how to report it and how to help these people as best you can. So if you work in an industry like that, I would say talk to your management and say, hey, can we get some training on this if we're not already, and make sure that this isn't happening under our roof, because it very well may be, because it is so prolific.
So it's like it's underground, but it's in broad daylight.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
it's really
paradoxical and terrible.
Yeah.
And this isn't to incite guilt in anybody. Like, oh my gosh, how unaware have I been? You're not supposed to be aware of this because it's
right. That's the point. No.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you guys doing what you're doing. I mean, that's really, it's noble work. It's God's work. It's hard. It's a hard fight. It's like Ronnie said, you can't just go out and grab a picket sign or do the fun run and feel good about yourself. But what you can do, if you're totally just off put by this, the bare minimum you can do is write a check to the organization. Mm-hmm. That's a very good way of doing it. Know that you're helping make Earth better. For people, and to something you said earlier too, Ronnie, is like these individuals are the ones that we're saving, right? It's nice to squeeze the balloon and make it disappear from a certain area or make it shrink, but all is not lost, because if you've saved individuals who are in a slavery situation and now you've returned their liberty and they're becoming whole again, whole human beings to contribute positively. That's very noble, and you have accomplished something, even if the goal isn't to eliminate it.
Right.
You've set someone free, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, let me finish by saying one thing on that note, that like most people, before I got involved in this work, I knew that something like this was happening out there in the world, that it was a thing and it was horrible, and but it wasn't a part of my experience. Mm-hmm. And so it really didn't affect me, and I didn't really think about it that much, to be honest. And it wasn't until an experience where I was in Europe helping with an organization out there, and I almost unintentionally, incidentally, interacted with one of the victims, a young girl, 6 years old, that had gone through this trauma, and seeing what it had done to her, seeing it in her face and her eyes and the way she interacted with me was very painful. I'd never seen it in person like that, and that's when it became real to me. It became an individual. Something really bad had happened to this girl, and she didn't deserve it. She was 6 years old. And from that point on, I was like, you know what, be it professionally or otherwise, I'm going to do something about this, because I couldn't push it to the back of my mind anymore,
Right.
So I encourage people who have really maybe not put too much thought into this, realize that this does destroy people's lives. And it's one of the most heinous things that humans do to each other, in my opinion. And so, this isn't just a theoretical idea, but I would say move it to the front of your head, because it's happening right now under your nose.
What got you into this, John?
So I kind of stumbled into this profession. I used to do originally I was my position was working with athletics, training coaches to talk to their players about preventing sexual assault and domestic violence. And then when we added the entity of providing victims to services to human trafficking victims at our agency, we had a client come in kind of same to Ron's kind of experience, how painful it was. Before even this position, I think the most human trafficking experience I've ever seen is from the movie Taken, right? Mm-hmm. That's the closest I ever saw it. And then hearing one of our victim stories, it was, I don't even think a movie director can come up with it, with how, dark it was. That's where you're like, okay, this is a big issue that we need to address. And then especially with our agency, addressing all three of those issues, if we can truly the work that we do, if we continue to work towards it, we're going to see numbers that go down, not only in human trafficking, but domestic violence and sexual assault, and then substance abuse, and then mental health. And it just trickles down to just an overall better community. I grew up in this area. This is my home. And there's about 6 of us that take crisis calls at our agency, and we take about a crisis call an hour every hour. We're over it. Like we're tapped. We're done. Like it's just, we got to figure it out. No one wakes up wanting to get abused or get trafficked, right? None of us woke up with that mindset this morning. So we need to figure out a way to stop it. we talk about the 6-year-old girl from Europe. We can talk about any of the kids if you've ever counseled. You can talk about any kids that we've ever worked with. Even players that I've worked with over the years have gone over some horrific stuff of abuse. I mean, there's got to be a point where it's like, we got to stop and do this. We got to change something. And then I think with these kind of podcasts and events and stuff, I think we're starting making strides forward. And then also awareness events. With Human Trafficking Awareness Month, we're halfway through it. We got about 2 more events coming up. On January 23rd in movie theaters, actually, there's a documentary it's called The Blind Eye, and it brings up sex trafficking in America. So that's going on January 23rd. And then if you're in the Reno area, January 28th at 7 o'clock, we will be hosting a DJ trivia night at Beer NV, which will have awareness questions about human trafficking, and then you'll be entered into a 50-50 raffle.
Sweet. Thanks, fellas. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Proud to know you as friends and colleagues, and it makes me inspired and encouraged to continue doing this work. And excuse me, I hope other people are inspired as well to go do something, because it matters, and it is happening right in front of us. So, on behalf of the Zephyr Wellness family and the Noggin Notes team, I wish you all great mental wellness. Bye-bye.